Welcome, ladies and gents. Chris Andre here. You can find me at BetBoxing on Twitter, or of course you can subscribe to the channel Let's Talk Boxing. I want to talk about Sonny Edwards and Dimitry Bivol, two fighters who I thought put in masterclasses with regards to their distance control and their dictating of tempo. Before I get into that, I just want to say this. One of the things I'm really proud of on this channel is how I believe we're so unbiased, and we are told this constantly on this channel. And I love that fact because this is not a fighter affiliated channel, but for those same reasons, I've never, ever revealed who I tend to have as my favorite fighters. Many of you have ideas and some of you are way off the mark, right? But I don't reveal my favorite fighters because if fighter A is fighting fighter B and fighter B loses, in my opinion, people will say to me, you're only saying that because you're a fan of fighter A, even if that's not the case. So generally speaking, I don't reveal it, but people pretty much know that I'm a fan of Sonny Edwards. That's a known one. That's the one known fighter that people know. I saw him a number of years ago in an open workout. And I was impressed with not just him, but another couple that day, Lerone Richards, Archie Sharp. I loved their balance. All three of them had great balance. And I started to watch him a lot more. I knew about his brother Charlie, obviously, as well. And I was really impressed with what I saw with regards to Sonny. And I kept telling everybody, listen, this kid's got real talent. He can go to the very top of the sport. And so I've been following him. And over the last couple of years, the way he's conducted himself in general, I thought has been fantastic with regards to this thing that has changed the way we live. So follow him on Twitter if you're not already following him. In fact, I'm going to sidetrack and I will get back to boxing immediately. But I have to respond to my subscribers because a lot of you have asked me this question on Twitter. So I'm going to respond. A lot of people would say to me, Chris, last year we were not permitted to engage in certain activities with the people closest to us, while those that imposed their will on us did engage in a gathering. Don't you believe that this is a hypocritical act? No, you're asking me the wrong question. That's not the question you should be asking. The question you should be asking is this. If they were willing to do that, it means one of two things. Either this particular thing, this particular reason that you have been denied of your life in many regards is not what they say it is. It's not as frightening as they say it is. And that's why they didn't fear having to engage in these sorts of things. If on the other hand, and I'm trying not to trigger algorithms here, so I'm being careful. If on the other hand, everything they've said, everything they have conveyed to you, the severity of this thing, the severity of the portrayal of this issue is real, well, then you have to ask yourself, why would they not be concerned about putting those that they love most in the world in danger? What if they'd taken something to their loved ones? If they don't care, if they're simply not bothered, but they believe in the danger of it, well, then you're talking about elements of psychopathy. Well, then you would have to ask yourself, would these people be willing to engage in other psychopathic acts to seek power? Because a lot of people that claim that and say there's no basis for what has occurred are just theorists, the types. Think about that. Moving on, let's talk about Sonny Edwards. We'll start off with him. It was a slow start. Edwards was on the back foot. They were feeling each other out. He was countering with the jab and this wide left hook where he was shifting his weight onto back foot. Not really engaging early on. He was taking a look. Jason Mama as well wasn't taking big risks. He did land a nice right after a feint though. So he was dictating the tempo and the range, and he took the first round. And the second round, that was a swing round. And I thought it could have gone either way. I thought one of the problems that Sonny had, he did have a cut from a clash of heads quite high on the hairline. It was running into his eyes and it was clearly bothering him. He was dabbing away at the blood. But Mama was using roughhouse tactics on the inside. And by doing that, he was causing Edwards a little issue here and there. Edwards wasn't comfortable with trying to tie him up and work on the inside, and maybe he got outworked, although he did land a number of shots of his own. He was falling in behind that right hand. He was throwing that right hand and his back foot was coming in and they were coming together, and there was an issue there a little bit for Edwards. After that, Edwards took control. He got on the back foot again. He was jabbing more. He was in control. He did a lot with his lead hand and threw a couple of combinations. So he was winning the rounds, edging them. The fourth round was another swing round. And Mama actually landed a big shot. But Edwards was still dictating the majority of the round. So I guess it depended on how you saw that. Mama's less consistent eye-catching work, or the guy who was doing a little more but wasn't exactly sweeping the round either. So through 4 rounds, it was close. After that, he started to move. And one of the problems that he had, Edwards, in my opinion, when he was backing up and getting his back onto the ropes, he would often move to his own left. And this was southpaw versus orthodox. And Mama is the sort of guy who would proper rotate, clocking that right hand and then trying to throw it down the pipe. He was telegraphing it, but Edwards was still moving into the line of it. And that is a problem because it was the only success Mama was having. Once Edwards really picked up on that particular pattern, because I thought the fifth round belonged to Mama. After the fifth round, Sonny really started to dictate with jabs and feints, much better round on the back foot. He kept that range. He was throwing flurries sporadically to ensure that it was obvious that he was winning the round. The seventh round was just beautiful stuff by Sonny Edwards. He was gliding in there. Some of the stuff I'd seen, like I said, in that shopping centre earlier in his life, when I was watching him train, it was there on display. It was just lovely stuff, a lot of agility, upper body movement, rolling with shots, coming under shots, slipping shots, not afraid to throw big shots if he had to. A lot of people will say, hey, he can't punch, he can only run. Listen, in his last couple of fights, he's mixed it up really well with showing the willingness to stand and trade if he has to. And it was like Mama was fighting a ghost at times. It really was. It was a fantastic performance overall from Sonny Edwards, and Adam Cattrall was fanboying on the commentary team, and I'm glad he was, to be honest with you, because it was about time that a guy like Sonny Edwards got the props that he deserves, because he is a small fighter and they don't always get the credit they deserve, and yeah, I thought he was really good. It became a ball versus matador type stuff, and you could see that Sonny Edwards was levels above him. In the end, he got the knockdown as well. And when he got that knockdown, he walked over to the camera, to the corner of the ring, looking at the camera and nodding away. There was an arrogance to him there. And there's a star quality to him there. He's a great analyst as well when he's on there, when he's trying to analyse a fight. So what you've seen is a guy who, when he finds his rhythm and he's stepping in and out, he's doing beautifully. And you could hear Grant Smith as well, his trainer, who, like I've always said, he's so underrated, this guy. He goes under the radar. He's a terrific trainer, Grant Smith. He said exactly what I was thinking all along. Don't fall in, Sonny. Let him come into you, basically. He was falling in too much with the right hand early on. His trainer addressed it. And you could see that as long as the networks really are willing to put the spotlight on Sonny Edwards, he has star quality and he's got a great trainer behind him. And it was just brilliant stuff. He's got a bit of everything. And it was great to see. Everybody wants to see that Martinez unification now, obviously. Can he get revenge for his brother? We all want to see that. I believe Sonny Edwards has the skills to go all the way. Of course, let's wait and see. With regards to Dimitry Bivol, Bivol's an interesting character because in some regards, he's typically Russian. Okay, he's got that lead left hand away from his body, looking to dictate from there. But he's not as aggressive as a lot of Russian fighters, and there's a lot of change of movement up and down, a lot of changing of the height dynamic. He messes with range a lot. It's very difficult to catch him with more than one shot. You'll catch him with one shot and he'll step out at an angle, so you can't then follow up. Although he's bouncing, he's often just constantly rotating, constantly moving. And Salamov was just, I thought he was poor, to be honest with you. I have to be honest. He's a size guy. And he was not willing to put together threes and fours. Number one, because he couldn't, because the angle was constantly changing on him. And number two, you also saw that the ability of Bivol to keep you off with enough of a crisp shot there. And one of the things I love about Bivol is that when he throws a combination and he finishes it, you'll often see Floyd Mayweather throw a jab as he's finishing the combination and then stepping out. He throws a short left hook. So he'll do his work, and then when you're going to chase Bivol out of there, he's hopping back, but he's hopping back with a left hook. So you could end up walking into a left hook. So closing that range on him is not only difficult because he's balanced and he's got, brilliant understanding of range. He's also difficult to say, I'm going to let him work and then I'm going to chase him out. He really is a terrific fighter. He does have that high guard, and there were times there where Salamov could catch him with shots to the body, and he did. So it'd be interesting to see a guy that's willing to come down and target that body. But because of those short left hooks, again, as you come down to throw to the body, you're going to be getting clipped with those. If there's one area that I think he needs work, although he's got a lead left uppercut when an opponent's upright, when an opponent's low, he steps back and looks to throw these hooks, and he can land a lot of them. But I'd like to see him step back a little bit more and actually stop fighting like a really well-schooled amateur and be a little bit more brutal. Use your head control to hold the guy and then rip in an uppercut. Throw that backhand uppercut. Be able to get close and manipulate a guy's body if that's necessary, to develop an inside fighting game. Instead of always looking to maintain range. I understand you are a master of range. but you don't always have to do that. So it'll be interesting to see Bivol against guys like Anthony Yarde, against guys like Callum Johnson. Obviously, we all want to see the Beterbiev fight, right? But that aside, I'd be interested in Yarde and Johnson. Johnson because Johnson can box, and yet he is very comfortable on the inside. So if it's a straight boxing match, it will be interesting to see whether he can hang enough up until the point where he gets inside. And if he can then get inside, it will be interesting to see how Bivol adapts to a guy who's right on his chest and he's throwing hooks. Anthony Yarde isn't as good as a boxer as Callum Johnson, but in my humble opinion, he offers more of a physical threat. And you saw against Lyndon Arthur, he's willing to walk a guy down, take a shot, to give a shot if necessary, to let go of big combinations and to target the body. In a roughhouse fight like that, where it's not a boxing match, and it's very easy to say, stop it from being a boxing match against a guy like Bivol, because Bivol can punch. You could see it there. He doesn't go through the tempo. He doesn't go through the gears to get a guy out of there. And that's why a lot of people find him a little bit dull. But you do not want to be walking into those shots. But if Yarde is able to slip one shot, or willing at least early to take a couple, to give a couple, it will be interesting to see how Bivol copes. I think he would beat both Johnson and Yarde, to be honest with you. I think Yarde and Johnson would have puncher's chances against anybody in this weight category, in particular Anthony Yarde. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to me. It's a fight I'd love to see. But Dmitry Bivol's a special talent, just in a manner that is not too entertaining unless you're a hardcore boxing fan. Everything is very straight. The height dynamic and the distance control changes. The tempo he can mess with, but doesn't. You know, he throws a lot of feints. He's looking to outbox you, basically, rather than break you. And he just happens to be heavy-handed, but he's not looking to destroy you and get you out of there. And that doesn't always translate very well with fans, but this guy's a real deal in terms of talent. So props to Sonny Edwards and Dmitry Bivol. I hope to see them both in the big fights that we all want to see them in sooner rather than later. Let me know what you think, guys, of everything we've spoken about. Chat to you soon. Take care. God bless.